My 26F best friend, 23F, might be in love with my husband, 26M. Where do I go from here? The author of the post is listed in the description. My husband and I have been together since we were young teenagers. We got married last year and have a 6-month-old daughter together. She is the light of both our lives as we both came from broken homes and want a better life than we lived growing up. My best friend came a few years later. We used to live in the same neighborhood and casually began to hang out. She lives with both her parents and siblings as she is studying to get her bachelor's degree. At first, she didn't like my husband, said that he was clingy and tried to insert himself into our friendship. She was civil to him because he was my romantic partner. For context, my husband is bipolar type 2, autism and PTSD, and it causes him to be a little socially awkward and miss certain social cues and taboos. I love him regardless of it all. Over the last few years, we have been hanging out a lot more. She comes over for a few drinks, we go to movies, and even visit local attractions together. We all three have a good time, and my husband does try to make nights for just the two of us often, too. However, last year, my husband and I found out we were expecting a child together in January. I was working and fell ill because, at the time, I was working a fast food place. I threw up and went to the doctor. Come to find out, I was 8.5 weeks pregnant. My life changed, and I had become more busy to get myself ready for motherhood. My best friend saw me less and less, and we couldn't talk as much. My husband and I got married almost a month and a half after discovering we were going to become parents. That's when our dynamic changed. Recently, I applied to school and am currently in college trying to get a law degree so I can become a paralegal and get to law school. I'm also a stay-at-home mom while doing college too. I've been super busy. One day my husband gets a text and it's from my best friend. She asks if they can talk, as she was upset. He took the phone call with me protesting, and a few minutes later said, "Sandra, fake name, we need to go get Carla, fake name. Her father is picking a fight with her." I get upset as we were watching a movie together, and I had just gotten the baby down for bed. We go to her house, which is about 20 minutes away, and she stays with us for a night. As I get our daughter back down to bed, Carla asks to cuddle with the two of us in our bed. I was hesitant. I have issues with claustrophobia due to a traumatic experience as a child. My husband gave the go-ahead. We settle in for the night. Carla's dad apologized, and she heads back home. Once she was gone, I blew up on my husband. What he did not only inappropriate, but was disrespectful to my boundaries. Ever since, when she has an issue with her dad, she calls my husband and vents. One day, while my in-laws were staying with us, my MIL overheard a convo with my hubby and Carla. She was concerned and asked me if I was okay with it. I said, no, not really, but every time I bring it up, he gets defensive, saying that she needs help, that she is going through a hard time, blah, blah, blah. It is important to note that my MIL was cheated on in the past by her ex, my husband's father. We're also extremely close, and she sees me as a daughter. She hates cheaters with a passion, and my husband, who I will refer to as James, was using the same excuses his father did. She asked to speak to him privately and walked to our living room. They got into a heated match, and James apologized to me. He said he didn't know that it was hurting me and causing issues in our marriage. I asked him, how would he feel if I had asked him if another man could sleep in the bed with us? He kind of deflated and tried to say, it's different, blah, blah, blah. His stepfather, Mark, fake name, spoke up and said, it is the same. You're uncomfortable with it. So is she. Quit with the excuses. James respects Mark quite a lot, actually. Mark raised him since he was 8, and his own father was in and out of the picture. Once the dust settles, my husband truly apologized to me for his actions and said that he would do better. I kissed him, and that was that. However, I wouldn't be right here if that was the end of the issues. Lately, Carla has been calling him 3 to 8 times a day. She says it's because she is bored and has no one else to talk to. I snap. I call him out over the nonchalance about the situation, how when she calls, he answers, how it is making me feel like a third wheel in my marriage, etc. His response? She's just lonely. You're letting it get to you. That night, I slept in the living room. I'm starting to suspect that she is trying to monopolize his time. She calls him for over an hour each time he calls. They talk. She complains about her life, etc. Almost like she is his girlfriend or something. I'm starting to find this relationship troubling. It's getting to the point that it is affecting my marriage. Where do I go from here? Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. Thanks everyone for the feedback. I'm going to have a talk with him, with his mom involved. He won't listen to me if I don't. I'm tired of fighting him over this. I should have an update with a resolution in a couple days. I'm going to read everyone's responses more thoroughly. Thanks for the advice. Edit 2. My husband and I had a sit-down talk. His mother and stepfather weren't available. He promised me that he would explain everything in detail. I called Carla and she said that we could talk Friday when she wasn't busy with school. She had something she needed to air out. I will have an update on Friday, hopefully. Edit #3. I woke up to a text from Carla this morning. She actually wants to talk to me tonight. Alone, as her schedule has changed. We are going to have a heart-to-heart. Hopefully I will have some news. Additional comment from Oop. I quit my job after I found out I was pregnant. I became a stay-at-home mom. Believe it or not, people can have inheritance and have no bearing on job status. My STB ex-husband is a construction worker who makes good money. I only worked for my own satisfaction at being able to pay for stuff. His uncle was a financially sound man who had no children. That's why my ex got the house. We were looking at getting our own house soon before he died. Relevant comments. Commenter. You've set your boundaries and he continues to cross them. Is this how you want your marriage to be? She won't stop as long as your husband responds to her every time. Answer. You're right. I have issues standing up for myself. Commenter. Does he not understand how badly that reflects on him, that he is unwilling to explain his actions to his own wife, seeing the pain and distress you are in regarding this situation? Or does he simply not care because he has feelings for her? Emo, if there was no cheating involved, he could have reassured you about that, but explained what was going on with Carla was a personal matter that she needed to share with you herself. Answer. Sometimes he thinks I'm too emotional. I have PTSD and BPD, and he doesn't understand my disorder. He doesn't understand that I feel things intensely or passionately, or that it is super easy to hurt my feelings. He never even tries to understand me, autism or not. Honestly, I'm considering cutting my losses and going through divorce anyway. It's not worth the emotional anguish he put me through each day. Update. This update is hard. Everything about this situation sucks, and I don't know if I will be okay for some time. Baby and I are currently staying with my friend, Tanya. To start, James and I are getting a divorce. Carla is no longer a friend to me or our mutuals. The betrayal is too deep for her to be friends with our group. As most of you assumed, James and Carla are indeed having an affair. It started about 3 months ago and just turned physical 1 month ago. They were planning on just up and leaving after James served me divorce papers. They used the ruse that he was helping her through emotional issues to hide the fact. I was crushed. She wanted to clear the air before it got worse. That was when she dropped a huge bombshell. James was going to try and get me to terminate my rights to my child in order for Carla to adopt her. The reason? My borderline diagnosis a few years ago made me unfit to be a mother, and he was sure that the courts would agree. She then handed me 2 separate stacks of paperwork and left. I'm contacting a lawyer as I am writing this. I was seriously hurt. You guys were right. Carla was a snake and only told me this so she wouldn't feel guilty. However, I am not letting my soon-to-be ex-husband bully me into termination of my rights. I called him afterwards and got very heated about what was going on. James just sat there in silence. I was crying afterwards. I pleaded with him to tell me what I did wrong. For a little bit of backstory, I had a near-fatal complication with my delivery of our daughter where I bled my entire labor. I had to have 2 blood transfusions and haven't fully recovered from it. I was not cleared for any extraneous activity for 3 months, including sexual activity. James was getting unsatisfied with all my doctor's appointments and not getting the sex that he wanted. I was hurting and ended up needing another procedure to remove some placenta that didn't naturally come out. I had to have my tubes tied because if I have another child, it will kill me next time. James wanted at least 2 more kids, and this put an end to his plans. I married a monster. We were together since we were 15, and this is how he repays me? I thought I knew him. He was acting so caring and nice to me. I am absolutely heartbroken. I'm not even sure if I'm going to update this anymore, but if I do, it'll be after the divorce settles. Thanks for all your concern. I'm going to step back and take some time to adjust. There is no chance for a healthy co-parenting situation. I'm fighting for primary custody with supervised visits. Carla will not have any access to baby, as I will ask the judge to make a clause preventing her from interacting with my daughter. Thanks for all the advice. Edit. I forgot to add that I contacted his mother and Mark this morning. They are furious that James is doing this to me. They are helping me foot the cost of a lawyer because I'm a stay-at-home mom and college student. They have kicked James out, and he is now staying at our old house with Carla. He did give me the courtesy to get my stuff and didn't put up a fuss about me taking what I wanted. He told me that he will keep in contact for divorce proceedings. Relevant comments. Commenter. Why did you leave? He's the asshole. He's the one that gets to leave. Answer. It's his house. Inheritance. He only let me stay as a courtesy. His parents didn't know the full story, but now that they do, he overstayed his welcome. They are so angry. I'm not sure if his relationship with his mom or stepdad are salvageable. Commenter. What stands out is he's threatening to use her bipolar status against her despite being a parent with bipolar type 2, autism, and PTSD. Answer. I didn't say he was smart, did I? But with me having no financial way to support my child or a stable home, he has slightly better odds. I'm still in contact with his mom and stepfather. I'm hoping they will give me a place at their house for the time being. I feel like I'm being intrusive at Tanya's home. Okay, next story. I don't know what to do now that my partner has feelings for someone else. Me, M32, and my partner, F33, have been together for 12.5 years. We had a break, her decision, 9 years ago where we each went on a date with another person, but nothing really came of it, and we ended up getting back together. Just over a year ago, I found out that she was messaging a guy that we both used to work with. It was a huge mess, in which she told me that he was sending her sexual messages. He's engaged and has children with his partner, a big gym goer, but also renowned for not being very loyal. She claimed that she never went along with it, told him it was wrong, but didn't stop it because she guessed she liked the attention. When I asked if I could see the messages, she said it was an invasion of her privacy and deleted them all. She continued to message him but said all the sexual stuff had stopped and that he was going through a bit of a rough time. I eventually forgave her when she said she'd stopped talking to him altogether, although it was tough to trust her, especially because around that time she'd started posting a lot more bikini pictures and attention-seeking stories on Instagram. Things had been going well since then. We decorated our flat and put it on the market, hoping to buy a house and have a baby someday. For as long as we've been together, I've almost always picked her up from work, regardless of the time that she finishes, as she doesn't drive, and I work very early mornings. She's just taken a demotion at work because the workload was too much for her, which I supported. She made a new friend at work who she said is really cool, and they have a lot in common, so she was going to walk home with her from now on, which didn't bother me. But her times of getting home were all over the place, and she wouldn't let me know if she was going to want to lift home or not until the last minute, leaving me guessing. She said it was difficult because the friend was going through a bad time at work, and she wanted to be supportive, which I couldn't argue with. We all need support from time to time. One evening over the weekend, we'd had some of her family over and dropped them home. She was in a major rush to get back home and said she needed to go to a shop to get a cheese sandwich, which was odd because we had bread and cheese at home. But then she said that it was for the friend, and that when we got home, she'd be walking over to her house to drop it off. I offered to take her there to drop it off, but she said she wanted to walk. When we got home, she was panicking because the friend was walking to our flat to pick it up instead and wanted to come in to use our toilet. She asked me to pretend I was asleep in the bedroom because her friend was awkward around new people. I didn't. I welcomed her into the flat and offered her food or drink. She wouldn't look me in the eye, said hello, but went straight into the bathroom and straight back out down the stairs. My partner followed her and they stayed out for 2 hours. I didn't question it. They were friends and she seemed like she needed help. A week goes by of my partner walking home from work every day and it getting later and later, also bearing in mind that the weather was awful every day that week. There was a day where she asked me to pick her up soon, so I headed to her workplace, where I waited for 20 minutes before the caretaker of the grounds asked me why I was there, and that he was locking the car park now. I phoned my partner asking if she was still at work, and she said she'd started walking, but it turned out that she was further from work than the combined time it would have taken for me to get there and wait for her. She said that the friend said she was leaving work, so she walked with her. It came to the end of her work week and she came home soaked and acting strange, saying that she'd had a really weird day, but she didn't want to talk about it. I asked if it was about work and she said no. I asked her if something was going on and she said not exactly. Then, halfway through dinner, the truth came out. My partner had told her friend that she really likes her, and they'd kissed. I asked her if it was a mistake, or did she want to do it, and she said she didn't know, but she liked it. Over a weekend of many arguments and her telling me that she doesn't know what she wants. She tells me time and time again that she doesn't want to lose me and suggested the possibility of an open relationship, which just isn't for me. Then tells me she has strong feelings for her and wants to do it again, but will stop if it means we can't be together anymore. I'm distraught and don't know what to do with myself, considering self-harm, and try to spend time with family. I didn't want to tell them anything out of embarrassment and that my nieces were there, so I put on a brave face until my partner sends my mom a message to check if I'm all right, making everyone question what was going on. So I left and turned my phone off to stop hearing from her for a while. I went for a drive and ended up going to the cinema, in which time she'd messaged a load of my friends, which meant I also had to explain things to them. I barely slept on the sofa that night. I couldn't stop overthinking. The following day was my day off from work. She messages me in the morning saying that she'll come straight home from work to talk things over. I went to my dad's house to talk to him about what's going on and get some advice. He says I can stay there anytime I need to. I'd put on laundry before I went to Dad's, so had to go home to sort it out. He doesn't live too far from where partner works, so I drive past it and happen to see my partner with her friend walking along. I circle back around and can no longer see them, so I went home and text her saying that I thought she'd planned to come straight home to talk. Then she doesn't message back for over an hour, and when she does, it's one-word messages, eventually after another hour saying that she's on her way home. I walk along to try to find her, which means that if she was actually walking home at that point, we'd meet in the middle somewhere. But when I finally find her, she's near to where she'd told me the friend lives. She confesses that she had to see her again and to kiss again to see if it's actually what she wants. She says that's all that she wants with her and it would never go further. It's only kissing, it feels nice. I can't cope with it, so stay at my dad's. She messages me throughout the evening saying that she still wants me and that reality has suddenly hit her, and to see her the next day after work, and to pick her up so that I can see she's not with her. I'm a mess, but I do as she asks. I suggest couples therapy, and we end up arguing. She says she doesn't think she's trusted me since we had the break 9 years ago, and has never felt the same, which is why she doesn't think it's so bad doing things behind my back, even though it was her decision to break up, and she went on a date as well. She still wants to see the girl. After saying she'd broken it off with her, she says that they've actually agreed to not see each other until next week. She doesn't think our relationship is fixable. She's also told me that she keeps asking to see me because she feels so guilty, and she's worried about me, but it's messing with my emotions, and then she'll keep telling me that she loves me. Last thing, the girl has told her that she loves her, but she says she won't say it back. Update. She asked me to come back and that she wanted to sort things out. She was cuddling me and apologizing, saying she wouldn't see her again, but that she had meetings after work. One of the users on here said I should wait outside her work and see if she's true to her word. I waited. She'd already left. I found them together. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.